That isn't the problem. You should never be embarrassed or ashamed of being ignorant or lacking experience. It's just you haven't gotten to it yet, and you just have to do it. And it's always good to acknowledge your ignorance and to acknowledge your weaknesses and your lack of skills, because that shows you what you need to develop, and that makes you a better person, a better technician, and helpful overall. And again, who cares if anyone mocks you in real life or not? Because look, if you're out there trying to do stuff like this, if you're trying to self-teach yourself how to do code or run a server or build a car or fix something, build a house, I mean, more power to you. Who cares if people mock you? Because you're out there, you're getting it done. All right, moving on. We're going to install Ubuntu now, and I've got the Ubuntu medium here on this Red Patriot USB. So let's go ahead and insert that into the front USB port and power on the machine. Like we did before, we'll need to get into the boot menu. Okay, getting into the boot manager, come down to hard, and then come to the front USB disk to get the access to the media, and then try or install Ubuntu. So this is going much easier and much smoother than installing Debian. So we'll go ahead and try or install Ubuntu. And there we go. We got some sort of splash screen going on. That's always a good sign. And this is moving much quicker. Alright, so we have system program problem detected. Do you want to report the problem now? Cancel. We're sorry, but not showing errors. You can try restarting your computer and start the installation process. It's probably because I'm not connected to the network. I'm just out of conjecture and experience. I'm saying that something like that happened. But we've got the Ubuntu here. Alright, so once again, I'm getting back into the boot menu, boot manager. I installed I plugged in the Ethernet cable to my internet. Maybe that's why it's giving us a hassle and complaining that it won't install. And it could be a hardware limitation of this old server, but we'll see. Maybe it could be a conflict with the Debian that I just installed in it. So again, we have to do some troubleshooting, and unfortunately this is part of the pain in the butt of dealing with old hardware and dealing with software and operating systems, is figuring out why things don't work sometimes. Not everything is as clean cut as they want you to believe on the internet, out there on the YouTubers and stuff like that. Not everything goes smoothly. Half the time in the IT world you're dealing with crap like this. So once again, come to the hard drive, come to the front USB, and well, that's frustrating. That's very disappointing. So we're going to have to look into this and find out why it won't work. And I'm going to have to take a screenshot to figure out why this won't work. It is very, very aggravating. And that's part of working in IT and doing software and hardware, is this kind of crap that... Okay, continuing to diagnose the issue why I can't get Ubuntu to install, and it may be because my hardware is really old. And I was looking on some forums about some sort of power management ACPI thing, and one thing I want to try is I want to try to update the BIOS. Diagnose this thing some more. The date is correct, but the time is not. I have no idea what time it is because I've been working on this thing all morning. Let's go ahead and change the system time. 11. Okay. Memory settings, processor settings, boot settings, boot mode. We need to find to make sure that it is not in secure boot mode. Enable that is disabled. Well, I'm going to abandon my plan to do a Ubuntu install because it seems like I'm having limitations and errors and problems due to the hardware, because the hardware is so old and the software keeps moving on, and you have to do BIOS things, and I'm having problems trying to get a BIOS update, and the really old BIOS menu I have, and the system manager is just a pain, and I don't want to risk bricking the unit. And so what I'm going to do instead is I want to do a Debian Live Cinnamon. So like before, we did the GNOME, but this time around I wanted to install the Cinnamon. And we got it to work before, and it seemed to work fine with Cinnamon, with Debian. And instead of breaking it or going anymore, I've already spent a couple hours trying to get this thing to work with Ubuntu. But and I don't want to roll back to an old version, which is probably the best way to do it. And I had to find out what version was around that time. But we're going to go with doing a Cinnamon installation. So once again, come here to my Rufus and go to find the Debian Cinnamon, which I just finished downloading. Go ahead and select that, open it up. We got it here, and it says CI. There we go. Go ahead and start that. Same thing like before, and then let it do its thing. And here we are. I've got the bootable flash drive with the Debian Cinnamon combination. So I'm going to do this once again. And we're going to go here to start the installer. Here we go again. We're at the installation screen, United States, look in English. I don't want to use the network mirror. And once again, you do not want to put your grub bootloader on the flash drive. You want to make sure it's on your actual system here. Alright, and once again we're back at this screen, so I will remove the installation media, and I will hit continue and finish up the installation, and we'll do a reboot and get back into the desktop environment. And there we go. Logged in as root, and we've got the desktop up here. And I've got the Cinnamon version, which on my other video you could see I had I think it was a GNOME version, but this is a similar, like if you have ever played with Linux Mint, you can get it with the Cinnamon, and this is the desktop environment for that. So, what a pain in the butt this has been trying to get this to work. And this, again, this is the reality of IT and hardware and software, and especially using old hardware like this. It's everyone wants to put all the polished, getting things done the first time, and everything's so smooth and boom. The reality is, this is the reality, is having headaches and just having to deal with stuff like this. But this is what makes you stronger, and this is what makes you more intelligent and aware, and gives you more diagnosing and troubleshooting and like quality assurance skills and debugging skills is when you have to deal with hassles like this. And it's always good. The world isn't perfect, even though everybody out there on YouTubes and the internet want to say that they're perfect. This is actually what it's like out in the trenches. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up here, and I'm going to go to my laptop and give a little bit of a more of a pep talk. Well, that was a chore. That was a process, wasn't it? I wanted to give a little bit of a, I don't know, some feelings and maybe a little pep talk. And in this case, you know, when you work in tech or anything you do in life, you're gonna fall down. You're gonna get bumps and bruises. You're gonna face plant. You're gonna make yourself look like an idiot. But that's all part of the process. And there's in this society, there's a lot of shame. You know, everyone expects you to be some like super genius, super good, super master of whatever craft you might do, but that's not how reality works. You know, everybody has a learning curve for whatever they do, and some people just have a natural talent and have an affinity for certain things, and they learn faster than others. But what society doesn't show you is the learning process. And our society here in Western culture, we want results. You know, we don't care if you struggle for a month, for half a year, or a year, or 5 years to get to where you want. All people care about in Western culture, in America, is results. They don't care. They care somewhat about your backstory. But one thing that I learned living and working in Japan, yeah, the outcome's important, but what matters most to like the Japanese society and culture is that you tried. Even if you failed, you just ganbarimashita, ganbatte. You just did your best. And that's what I really, one of the life lessons I learned in Japan. So, you know, I intentionally left in, you know, I had a goal of wanting to do both Ubuntu and Debian, but, you know, going through the research, trying to figure out how to make Ubuntu work on this old hardware, one thing leads to another, leads to another. You know, I had to make a decision to like, you know what, let's just stick with Debian. And, you know, it was a good learning experience because we failed. I failed, but that's how you learn. And don't let anyone troll you, whether it's on the internet or online or a forum or in real life. Who cares if you failed? You know, this is part of the process. I mean, do you think like people in martial arts who have black belts, do you think they started at a black belt? Or like the really good athletes are just really good at right off the bat, or the best mathematicians or the best coders, painters, and artists? I mean, we all have to start somewhere, and we have to, you know, build and hone our skills and making mistakes. You know, that's how you become top of your game. And there's a quote out there that the pathway to glory is littered with f-ups, and that's a really good way, because again, this society doesn't care about your heartache and troubles and stuff like that and your mess ups. They just want the end result. Everyone wants to pretend that they're an expert right off the bat, and people are so afraid in the society to look dumb or show your ignorance or lack of experience. The lack of experience, that just comes with time. That isn't the problem. You should never be embarrassed or ashamed of being ignorant or lacking experience. It's just you haven't gotten to it yet, and you just have to do it. And it's always good to acknowledge your ignorance and to acknowledge your weaknesses and your lack of skills, because that shows you what you need to develop, and that makes you a better person, a better technician, and helpful overall. And again, who cares if anyone mocks you in real life or not? Because look, if you're out there trying to do stuff like this, if you're trying to self-teach yourself how to do code or run a server or build a car or fix something, build a house, I mean, more power to you. Who cares if people mock you? Because you're out there, you're getting it done, right? So with that, I really do hope you got some value out of this build, and especially if you're having trouble with old Dell hardware and Dell servers and struggling with the Ubuntu. And I'll put information in the description below to kind of outline what happened here. But once again, this is Shauna with Disrupt Apps LLC, and I look forward to making more great content for you all. Bye bye.